Tyson Fury, following his knockout win over Dillian White, he brings none other than UFC heavyweight champion Francis Ngannou into the ring. They're they're buddying it up, chummying it up, arm around one another. Tyson Fury says they are going to fight. They are going to find out who's the baddest man on the planet. Tyson Fury said it can be boxing gloves, MMA gloves, in a cage, in a ring. It don't matter.
Yeah.
A lot being said here, Dominic, but your thoughts on a potential Tyson Fury versus Francis Ngannou boxing fight with MMA gloves is the leading theory right now.
Yeah, so it's when you put it that way, it's like you look at when we've seen this happen before, right? With Conor McGregor, obviously Floyd Mayweather comes to mind, but that was a typical normal boxing rules, everything 12-ounce gloves, you name it, it was boxing. This is different. We're talking potential MMA gloves, which are 4 ounces, way different from boxing gloves.
Mm-hmm.
A mixed rules fight in a boxing ring. Francis Ngannou, the power, he puts people to sleep with one punch. Tyson Fury, well, he's got an uppercut of his own. If you watched on Saturday night, both these guys have had some pretty highlight reel uppercuts. If you remember Francis versus Overeem, so this feels big. It feels like something big is brewing, I should say, for 2023. Selfishly as an MMA fan, I would hate to see Francis not continue in the UFC and defend his heavyweight title. So obviously the ideal situation is him and the UFC can come to terms. They can fix this. He can fight and defend his belt in 2023 and then move right in to a boxing or mixed rules fight, I should say, with Tyson Fury. Francis Ngannou, Noah, could be in 2023 having one of the biggest years ever for an athlete, period.
Oh, that's a take right there. I don't. I mean, I know it could be a huge year for him, but I don't know. If that's the okay. But I get what you're saying. He's definitely like a shooting star right now. Like he's just on an absolute climb. He is on the shelf for the rest of this year, so kind of his 2022 is kind of wrapped up early. But I don't know if he was really going to fight again this year, anyways.
Yeah.
Surgery or no surgery, and okay. Truth be told, this fight will be absolutely massive, and it's so strange because Tyson Fury is obviously a big. I mean, he's one of the biggest draws in combat sports right now.
Yeah.
Francis Ngannou maybe isn't there yet, but he's kind of on his way there. And I think that things like this, what you saw Saturday, are really putting it in people's mind, like how big of a deal this fight can be. I think this fight happens in 2023. I am, however, not very confident that we do see Francis Ngannou fight in the UFC again. It's interesting because where does Francis Ngannou go from there? After he does this, if he were to do this mixed rules or it's not really mixed rules, but having, we'll call it mixed rules just to make it easy, fight.
Yeah.
Where does he go from there? He does that. I don't think he has much of a shot at winning. I mean, I guess you always have a chance when you have the kind of power he does, but I mean, it's still boxing.
Tyson Fury is one of the best boxers ever.
Yeah. So I just have a hard time seeing him winning. But win or lose there, I mean, where does he really go from there? Especially with the loss, like what's next? And then, I mean, the amount of millions of dollars he's going to get from that fight. He's not going to go back to fighting for the rate that he was in the UFC.
Right.
So that's going to force Dana and the boys to either pay the man or don't.
Yeah.
And to be honest, with Conor McGregor, it made sense because Conor McGregor on his own was doing 1.5 million pay-per-views with Nate Diaz and Eddie Alvarez and guys like Jose Aldo and Chad Mendez. They're doing big pay-per-view buys. Francis Ngannou maybe at that point would be of a Conor McGregor level, but I have a hard time seeing someone, even Ngannou, who I think has that superstar potential. I have a hard time seeing him reaching like a Conor McGregor level.
Yeah.
I have a hard time seeing him become bigger than the UFC.
Right.
So if he doesn't do that, I don't know if it would even be in the UFC's best interest to pay him what he's going to want to continue defending that heavyweight title for them. Could be wrong. Obviously, if the fight with Fury takes place, that's just going to bring so many eyes to him that maybe he will be like Mike Tyson 2.0, basically. But time will tell. I don't think the UFC will have a part in promoting that mixed rules event. I know we talked about this the first time we did this episode. I'm not confident that the UFC will have a part in it like they did for Conor and Mayweather. But if they do find it, Dana White at the end of the day is a good businessman. Dana and the boys, they are good at what they do for a reason. So if they really see no other possibility but to get involved to financially benefit from this, then maybe they do.
Yeah, so this is kind of like where my headspace is because obviously if things don't fix between Francis and his team and the UFC, he just becomes a free agent in like January or something based off of this kind of weird contract situation that he's in. So obviously, if that doesn't happen, he'll probably just go right in and do the boxing match, and we may just never see him fight again after that ever. He's going to make so much money anyway. So on the other end, say they kind of work this out in 2022 where the contract situation, gets fixed with the UFC. I almost envision the UFC wanting Francis to defend the belt against whoever the interim champion may be early 2023, whether it's John, Stipe, Taito Ivasa, whoever the hell it may be. We don't know what's going to happen in 2022.
Yeah.
But I would see that, and then it essentially would be the UFC kind of going out on a limb, taking a bit of a risk, and saying, all right, if he can win this, that builds more credibility. We go right into this boxing match with Tyson Fury and just blow the roof off of this place with a massive pay-per-view. That's kind of where I'm at least the two spectrums of how this fight will come together.
The only reason I don't think that happens is because his contract's up at the end of the year.
Mm-hmm.
And again, the UFC, maybe after the fight takes place, will see the value in bringing him in, even if he is bigger than the sport. A la Conor McGregor.
Yeah.
But again, I think Ngannou is going to have a very big price tag almost immediately following Saturday. I think his price tag might be to a level that, dare I say, he might not be worth right now. Mm-hmm. Worth relatively. Let me be clear that the guy's worth a lot. And then you have the whole fighter pay thing. I'm just saying that as it stands, as the UFC's model is kind of working, Ngannou, I think, is going to want a lot of money now because he knows where he's going.
Yes.
That it's only going up. And again, I just don't know if the UFC is going to commit to that. And I don't think they'll commit to that if the fight hasn't taken place yet.
Right.
So it does leave a lot up in the air as far as for the UFC's heavyweight division. We can be excited about that fight all we want with him and Fury, but at the end of the day, it's just kind of fun theater while the real competitive bouts are kind of hurting here because, we want to see the best heavyweight in the world compete. But if he doesn't, I mean, it's kind of crazy how this can open the door for either John Jones or Stipe Miocic if that fight happens to have John Jones we kind of already expected to potentially hold a heavyweight title and defend it, but if Stipe could win it again, and maybe have another title reign,
it's crazy.
Who would have saw that coming?
The heavyweight division is in a state right now that it's never been in before in the UFC.
It's very intriguing, but also frustrating.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Now let's get into